Everything that we see sculpture artworks are almost a cross-section of a much more dimensional, ongoing stream. Bushwick is really unique because there's a lot of energy in that area. It's also the site of a lot of industry as well as different kinds of diversity in historic New York. I am American-born Korean in the Midwest in the 60s and 70s. So clearly there are autobiographical and anecdotal materials that influence some of the texture of my work. I think some of the thematics and things that have come up in the work are based upon experience. I think that there is perhaps more of a unique perspective based upon particular circumstances and working and growing up with a household of scientists. I mean, science for me is just a language that I have access to, and I think it's a perspective that can take a very small part of a larger whole and examine it at a very, very scrutinize it at a very specific level. I wanted to kind of run through some of the material studies and things that I've really experimented with over the last 5 years, 7 years since my last show here. And some of those processes have taken me from traditional white charcoal Binchotan ovens in Wakayama Prefecture of Japan and all the way to electrophoresis laboratories where we've been researching and running tests that were very related to the research work my mother had done as a plant scientist and electrophoresis expert. A process where an electrical charge is used to separate the molecules of DNA into these kind of beautiful patterns. And so I've been looking for clues in this show, really kind of trying to mine histories and some of not only material histories, but personal histories. The title Soft Skills and Underground Whispers is a really it's kind of a direct reference to the things that, we use as humans to kind of contour our relationships and shape our own kind of immediate environments, the ways we communicate with each other that are subtle, that are tactful, that might be thoughtful and in a way responsive to each other. For me, Underground Whispers is on a really immediate, direct level, a reference to the mycorrhizal networks that connect invisibly underground mushrooms, fungi communities. And I'm really interested in how those networks influence each other. There might be something much more shared. And because of that connection between the human community and our own behavior towards each other and the environment, I've long been interested in what I consider a kind of portable architecture or provisional architecture of the Italian South American architect Lina Bobardi. Her work as a whole, but in particular her work from the 60s involving a very iconic glass easel that had been deployed to exhibit artworks in the Sao Paulo Museum. Silvered epoxy canvases that are displayed on the glass easels are part of a long-running series. I, as a sculptor, have long wanted to kind of work in a two-dimensional arena, and the silvered epoxy canvases, in the process involved in making them, is take a canvas to various kinds of liminal type environments like borderlands or contested territories, areas on the edge of different kinds of identities. And in this case, these canvases were put into abandoned mansions that were squatted on the outskirts of Barcelona. We're using a transparent epoxy, which I then leave for 72 hours to cure. That's a mixture of, I'd say, photographic techniques of metallizing image from silver gelatin printing, mixed with laboratory glass mirroring I'll kind of develop those prints in space, so to speak, and the images of which are hidden in a way in the transparent epoxy. So I'll get this kind of relief print almost that is really kind of undetectable. The large hanging print in the exhibition is titled EP Cascade, and the work itself might appear to be a large flash or streak of color, almost like watercolor, but is in fact based upon digitally and AI manipulated imagery from existing electrophoresis prints. So for this exhibition, I'd also been working for a long time with crystalline surfaces that might at once give a sense of intimacy and spatial division, but allow the viewer to see through them and to create a kind of almost composition that you could receive at once, almost formally. So those kind of contradictions of a visual map, but also a physical kind of maze at the same time, were something that's really interesting to me, to kind of conflate that, with an overall thematic of the work of invisibility and the kind of idea of multiple things happening at the same time. Well, I want this to be experienced, really, so a lot of the work itself encourages movement, I think, because the work and its materiality really emphasizes activity, but not knowing where that work is actually located will have to move their body, in a sense, in order to become engaged with that work, in order to understand it, even on the physical level.